everybody, it's Devin. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thanks again for tuning in. If you haven't already, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. But today we're going to be talking about airline status and how can you get airline status. So I'm going to kind of talk about my experience of getting airline status last year. It was my first time, and I can only really speak to the airline that I am on currently, or that I fly on currently, but some of these things are similar for other airlines, and we can kind of review those in future videos. So I fly on United, and the reason I fly on United is because United has a lot of flights, both domestically and internationally, coming out of where I stay a lot. So if you guys don't know, I stay a lot in the New York City, New Jersey area, and Newark is one of United's hubs. So since I fly a lot out of that airport, I like to use that airline. And getting status is pretty simple when it comes to United. You have one of two ways of doing it. So A, you just spend the money amount. So to get like Premier Silver, if you just want to go like the bare minimum flights, $3,500. And I know that seems like a lot, but depending on how much you fly, it may not be terrible. Or you can have, I think, what's called 8 segment qualifying flights, and you can spend $3,000 on the flight. And that's what I did. So going into kind of what I did and why I flew so much. So because I travel a lot for work and also just for pleasure as well, I was flying from Newark to Cincinnati on like a monthly basis. Every 2 weeks, Newark, Cincinnati, Newark, Cincinnati. So each month I was probably spending about $200 to $300 a month in flights on average. And I know that's not for everybody, but for me, that was just something I had to do. And that's kind of how I got status. So, on United, there's really no other way of getting around it other than just paying the money. I know to get to their highest status, it's 12 grand. And that is a lot of money to a lot of people to spend 12K on just airline flights. And it may not be economically feasible, but, spending 3K for me was just something that I had to do last year. And I just put it into my monthly budget that, hey, I was going to be spending around $250 a month in flights for this entire year. And that's how I got it. So, like I said, this is my first year getting status, so I've only had it for 20 days. What is it now, like January 23rd, 22nd, 23rd? And it's actually been kind of nice. I flew from Newark to Cincinnati not too long ago. I got my first, Premier upgrade to first class. It's just domestic first class, so it's nothing special, but it's still nice. And for me, another great thing about doing that is just the Premier, United Premier hotline. I think if I could say one thing that I love, it's that, if you guys know, recently there's a big snowstorm in the New York City area, and it was delaying a bunch of flights. Flights are getting canceled. One of my flights got canceled. And it was just so nice to call that Premier hotline and literally just pick up instantly. And that was awesome because I was able to get someone to call on the phone very quickly. And once they got on the phone, my stuff was fixed in literally 5 minutes. And that was probably the fastest customer service from any airline that I've probably ever had, just being able to reschedule, boom, 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 done. So I will say that it's worth it for that. You also get like a free checked bag, free carry-on, and then if you fly basic economy, some of the restrictions around like checked bags actually don't apply to your carry-on. So, that's nice, but if you fly basic economy, then you're not going to get your complimentary upgrades and things like that. So there's a trade-off, but depending on where you're flying, if you don't mind flying coach for literally an hour and a half, then maybe you want to save the extra $50 and that's fine. But yeah, so getting Premier status, it's great, it's nice, and it's awesome, but you have to pay the money. So, it's very different from flying on points. If you have the United Premier, the United frequent flyer points, you can use those, but you're not going to get your dollar spend on your flight, so it won't go to your status. Now, for me, like I said, status is worth it. I do think if you're going to be flying a lot, that it may be in your interest to get status. There's other airlines, maybe there's other ways to do it cheaper. I'm still new to this whole airline game and just getting status and figuring things out. But if you guys have any questions or comments, just don't forget to leave a comment below. And then again, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Thanks. See ya.